So hi students, thank you so much for logging back on for our session today with BDO. It's going to be a great session this afternoon. And like I mentioned earlier, all of you who log back on will be receiving a certificate for LinkedIn and for your CV. It looks great to employers, as well as 3 of you will win the awards for Best Communicator, Best Collaborator, and Best Question. So please make sure that you are still asking questions and staying involved because we're really keeping an eye out for those of you who are. Just quickly, I've just ended the poll. Thank you to those who voted. It looks like most of you are from Greater London. Most of you have attended a pathway event before, which is great. And then about 44% of you are looking at university, 30% into an apprenticeship, and most of the rest of you don't know what you want to do. So this will be a great session for you guys to hear a little bit about what it's like to work at BDO. So again, throughout the event, please feel free to ask your questions in the Q&A box or in the chat box, and we'll do our best to get to as many of them as we can at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to BDO.
Perfect. Thanks, Rosie. Well, it's great to see so many of you on the call. So welcome. My name's Lucy Boyd and I work in the early and career team here at BDO as a resource and advisor. And my colleague, Jeren. Jeren, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name's Jeren. I'm a first-year audit trainee working towards my ACA at BDO. And I started in November during the second lockdown.
Perfect. Thanks, Jeren. So just so you all know what to expect from today's session, so I will give you an overview of BDO and what we do here, our different streams, and also we'll do some myth busting about accountancy. And then I will pass you over to Jeren and we'll do a bit of a Q&A, and you can ask Jeren some questions and myself if you do have any at the end of the session. So I'll try not to bore you too much with the slides, so I'll get started with those. But if you do have any questions throughout, please just feel free to pop them in the chat, and I'm sure, Rosie, just give us a shout if you lose us at any point as well. Okay, so let me just get my slides ready as well. Perfect. So just to, I've already given you an idea of the agenda, so we'll move on to the next slide, please, Rosie. So here at BDO, we are part of a $10.3 billion organisation. You might have done some research on us already, but we are an international network and we have offices in 167 countries and over 91,000 staff across the world. Just a bit more about BDO UK. So we have 6,000 people in the UK. Sorry, next slide, please, Rosie. So I'm just going to move you onto my screen. Oh, bear with me. I just love technology. Okay. Okay, it's not letting me. Sorry, bear with me.
No worries. Students, again, just make sure you're making any comments and really engaging in the chat box. Are you good to go now, Lucy?
Perfect, thank you. So yeah, just a bit more about BDO UK. So we have 6,000 staff and 350 partners in our UK network. So you can see this map here. We're situated in quite a few offices, well, 18 offices to be exact, around the UK. So I think the poll has just mentioned that most of you are from Greater London or surrounding areas, but if you're not situated in London, don't worry, we do have offices not just in London but across the UK. So some of you might be looking to relocate, or some of you might be looking to work in our London office. So Jeren and myself are based in the London office normally pre-COVID, and when we do go back to the offices, that's where we'll be based. But if you do have any questions about our regional offices or any other offices throughout BDO, please feel free to pop them in the chat. So that's just a bit about BDO. So just some of our clients here. So you might recognise some of these clients. This is obviously not all of them. The slide would go on for days and days if we had them all on there, but hopefully you can spot a few well-known names. Hotel Chocolate is the one that my eye is drawn to. I think I need to have something to eat. But Jeren might actually be working on some of these in the future. And yeah,
Uh,
hopefully you
I'm
will.
actually working on hotel. I actually did a stock
Oh,
take for Hotel Chocolat. Yeah.
oh, cool. Oh, well, you can give us a bit of an insight into that a bit later, but did you get to try any of the chocolate, or was it all virtual?
No, I actually went into the store, so they did
Oh,
offer me a few chocolates. So yeah.
oh, lucky you. I'm very jealous. Thanks, Karen. That sounds great. Well, that's firsthand the sort of types of clients that we work on. Next slide, please, Rosie. So just want to spend some time just giving some myths about accountancy that you might have heard, or some myths that you might feel yourself when you hear the word accountancy and accounting or BDO, what might come to mind. So we'll just spend some time having a look at these and myth bust on the next couple of slides. So some of you might think of accountancy or think of being an accountant and think that it's quite boring, or you have to be a maths genius, you have to be introverted, or you have to have a dull personality type. It's all about desk working and number crunching, and we might be threatened by tech advancements and no purposeful impact. I'm just going to spend some time on the next few slides just talking through some of these myths and trying to bust them for you. Brilliant. Thank you, Rosie. Sorry, I'm working off 3 screens and I'm just trying to.
No worries.
Okay. So the first one then, let's talk about the myth that accountancy is boring. So there are so many different accounting roles within the industry. So accountants work with businesses in every industry, from entertainment to public services, and there is room to work in areas that align to any interests. So Jerry, you might be able to share some insight into this a bit later on. But yeah, if you have an interest, if you're interested in a particular client, you never know, that might be a client in the future that you get to work with. So hopefully that helps you realize that it's not boring. I think a big myth in the accounting industry is that you have to be a maths genius. And I think a lot of our apprentices or trainees would think this as well without knowing too much about us. So I just wanted to share with you that being an accountant is much more about problem solving than doing complicated maths. And I think, Joan, you actually cover this a bit later on, which would be great to hear your insight. But the role is more about analysing and investigating. So accountants need to know about rules, regulations, and financial law more than they do about mathematics. So just bear that in mind. If you think that if I say to you, would you consider a career in accountancy, and you think it's all to do with maths, then please think again. So introverted and dull. So accountants are trusted advisors to clients. A massive part of our accountants' roles is they have to be a great communicator and relationship builder. So they have to be able to work with clients, and they have to be able to communicate with them and be a credible communicator, which is something that we assess for during our application process as well. Next slide, please. So desk work and number crunching. So you might think that our staff just sit at their desks all day and number crunch, but accountants are doing less bookkeeping and more advising, especially now rather than in the past. So on any given day, they may attend client meetings, produce financial reports, work on projects, or partake in discussions to improve the overall business. And that is definitely something that our trainees get involved in from day one as well. So as well as that professional qualification and learning on the job, there is lots of client interaction and a chance to really get involved from day one, which is really great as an apprentice or a trainee joining our firm. No purposeful impact. So many accountants, for example, those in the forensic accounting field, use their skills to prevent financial crime. So here at BDO, we have a team called IIDA, and they use their expertise to help audit international charities to ensure that their donations are used effectively to deliver on their mission. So we, the IIDA team, it's all acronyms here at BDO, work in some fantastic and really interesting countries, and you are able to read more about them on our website. But there's just one team that does something quite niche and unique. There's lots of teams like that here at BDO. You might feel that the myth is that we're threatened by tech. However, technological advancements are welcomed by the industry. So automating certain processes has allowed accountants to become advisors and consultants to businesses, which, as mentioned on the previous slide, is really important for our client relationships, and that communication is really key to be able to help us become advisors and consultants. Okay, next slide, please. So we have 4 main streams here at BDO, and those are advisory, audit and assurance, tax, and business services and outsourcing. We offer apprenticeships in all of these streams across the whole of the locations that I've just shown you on the map on the previous slide. So we would really advise you to really take your time to research into the different streams and see if there is one that particularly interests you, and talk to trainees from all different services to really find out which service line you would like to work in and you find most interesting. Okay, next slide, please. Advisory. So the first slide that the first stream I'm going to speak about is advisory. So as businesses grow, so do the challenges that they face. So BDO's advisory services help our clients to meet these challenges at every stage of their life cycle. Such key events might include buying a new business or exiting one in order to extract maximum value. So Rosie, if you could just click so we've got the whole
I think that was the whole slide.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yes, it is perfect. Thank you. So these are some of the teams that sit within advisory. So you can see here valuations, financial services advisory, forensic services, transaction services, capital markets, financial modelling, assurance, and business restructuring. So at the moment, these might just seem like a lot of words on a slide to you. So don't worry, don't let the different teams and the on the acronyms and any words you're not sure about, don't let that put you off. There are people here that can help you understand what it is each team do and what each stream do, and we wouldn't sign you up to something you're not sure about. So yeah, really take the time to research the different teams if you are interested in advisory. Advisory is one of our smaller teams. You can see there the numbers on the bottom left of each slide to see how many people within the teams, but this is constantly changing as our firm is growing, so those numbers will increase year on year, so it's really good to see. Okay, next slide please. So business services and outsourcing, we also call it BS&O or BSO, and we this is a great team for our apprentices to join, as they all are. So BSO combines the use of technology and the expertise of our team and our wider ecosystem. So they provide outsourced accounting and tax services together with proactive business advice for growing businesses looking to expand in the UK or internationally. So within the business services and outsourcing team also sits global outsourcing, which you may have heard of if you have looked into BS&O. So global outsourcing helps international clients with a wide variety of accounting requirements across different jurisdictions. So this is done by coordinating international networks, local expertise. So you'll see here on the slide as well the other teams that sit within business services and outsourcing, and some you may have heard of. And again, outsourcing is business services and outsourcing is one of our smaller streams with 528 employees and 16 partners. This is another area of BDO that is growing. Next slide, please. So the next slide is tax. So one that you've probably heard of. When you think of accounting, you might think of tax or audit rather than the business services and outsourcing and advisory streams. So tax advisors guarantee a personal service delivering accurate authoritative advice and guidance on all tax related matters to help our clients solve tax issues quickly and efficiently. So these can include day-to-day compliance with the tax authorities, advice on employment taxation and international taxation, and transaction support for deals such as mergers and acquisitions, VAT services, expat tax advice, and more. So our tax stream is a larger team, and they are made up of more than 1,000 members of staff and 100 partners. And you can see here on the slide some of the teams that sit within the tax stream. And we offer apprenticeships in most of these as well. So if there's a particular tax that you are interested in, or you're really not sure, it's okay. We can help you determine which stream you might be more interested in. And there is trainees in each of them, if not most of them, that can advise you on what they were looking for when they applied and see if it's similar interest to you. Next slide, please, for audit. So on this slide, we have some information about our audit and assurance team. So you'll hear a bit more about this in a moment on the next slide from Jerin, as she is in our audit team. But audit involves checking client financial statements are accurate and presented fairly and in compliance with reporting standards. So it is our largest stream at BDO, and you can see here it consists of over 2,000 employees and 122 partners. And again, we have different teams that sit within the audit stream that you might be interested in and that do different types of auditing. And again, you're not expected to understand what each of these teams do, but they're just there, and we're here, to help you decide that if there is a particular one that you're interested in. Jerin, do you want to take the next slide?
Yeah. I think this slide's just a day in the life of an audit apprentice, so that's what I do. So if I just talk you through the kind of things that I do on a day-to-day basis. So sometimes I do a calling and casting. So this is when I make sure that the financial statements kind of add up. So we kind of just have to make sure all the figures add up correctly. Sometimes they might not add up, and then we have to compare it to the prior year, the prior year signed account. So that's the official statements that were that have been uploaded onto Companies House. So it's all very official. So we have to compare the figures to that one, that document, and then make sure that the current year figures are all the same, across all the work that we've performed on the audit, and make sure that all the figures agree and make sense. So that's what calling and casting is. I think as a junior, you'll probably do this exercise quite often. And then you might also do ticking in samples to supporting documentation. So these are things like ticking in samples to bank statements, or purchase invoices, purchase orders, things like that. So I think for payroll, it might even be contracts and stuff. So you'll just have to agree all the information on the supporting documentation to the information you have about the samples that you've documented on your workbook. So that's one of the main tasks as an audit apprentice that you'll do throughout your day-to-day life. And then also the preparation of workbooks. I think that's also quite a large thing that you'll be doing. Is you usually get assigned a certain FSA, so that's financial statement assertion. So as a team, you'll get say one or two or three workbooks to do on your own. Obviously, you can ask for help from seniors. They're always more than willing to help. So I think there's maybe 20 FSAs. It's depending on the client, and then you'll get your section. So there'll be maybe 3 or 4 workbooks that you're assigned. So it could be cash, payroll, expenses. So what you have to do is prepare them, and then there's a couple of tests that you have to do to make sure all the controls and stuff in the client's business is running correctly. So those all will be designed, and you'll be helped and given a lot of help from your senior. So you'll be in charge of it mainly, and then if you've got any questions, the senior will help you, but usually you're in charge of those workbooks. You've got to take responsibility for it. And then you also have to attend external client meetings as well as internal team meetings. So the internal team meetings will be a little bit more informal, or just be with your audit senior and maybe your audit partner, partner and your audit manager. So that's usually who the team consists of. And the audit manager and the audit partner you might not see as often, but you're quite often in touch with your audit senior, usually like every day. You just meet maybe like once or twice a day to discuss anything you're stuck on, or like what you're going to work on next. So yeah, those are usually the internal team meetings, and you might also have to attend some external client meetings if like you both need to work on something. Usually your audit senior will be on it with you, but sometimes you might have to lead the external client meeting, especially if it's part of like the workbook that you've been assigned. So then it kind of falls on you, the responsibility to lead the client team meeting. So yeah, that will be another thing that you'll often be doing. And then asking questions regarding testing and the logic behind it. As I previously mentioned, usually the audit senior will set up like the samples and like the testing and pick the samples. But as you get like, as you progress as an audit trainee, that will all fall upon you. So I haven't started picking samples yet, but like I know like from next year onwards, like when I move on and become a little bit more experienced, I'll start having to pick like samples and like the kind of testing that we do. So yeah, so like if you've got any questions regarding like the testing and like how they concluded that was the test that they needed to do for that financial statement assertion, you usually ask your senior, and they're more than happy to walk you through how they concluded and came about that decision. So yeah, usually you do that. Like they'll always be more than happy, especially if it's a workbook that you're working on. Then you'll usually always have to ask and see how they came about that decision, because you're going to be working on it. So you need to fully comprehend how they came to that decision and chose that testing. And then the last one is to study towards your qualification. Usually like after work, you have to put in some hours to study towards your qualification, because you'll have exams coming up. I'd say like one every month if you're a school leaver. Actually, it's quite spread out, so it just depends how you do them. And also you'll have like college put into your schedule if there's college for them exams. Most of the exams have college, I think, but a couple of the certificate level exams are actually self-taught, so you'll have to put in a few hours after the after work hours to actually learn the content and like revise for the exams. So you've got to be quite disciplined in that sense. Yeah, so that's usually what my day looks like. But yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, Jaren. I think we have one more slide, Rosie. It was just close. So thank you. So as you have heard, we offer apprenticeships across different locations at BDO here, across different streams, and we are more than happy to take your questions if you do have any. But what I would say is that we advertise for these roles normally early September for the following September. So the next intake that we will be advertising for will be September 2022, and more than happy for you to connect with me on LinkedIn if you do want some more information on these roles, because I know they won't be live yet. So there is a chance to register your interest on our website, which is shown on the slide there. So if you are interested in hearing more about our apprenticeships, then you can make a short application on our register your interest role. And on there, it will ask you to submit your details. And then when we have our apprenticeships that are ready and live on the website, you can then just we'll contact you and you can just choose which stream interests you the most. So yeah, I'll probably start the Q&A. So Jaren was in your position not so long ago, so please feel free to ask myself or Jaren any questions that you do have, but Rosie, I'll pass back to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We have actually a ton of great questions in the chat box. I have a few questions before we begin with that, though, if that's okay. I was wondering what made either of you choose BDO and accountancy/audit?
So I'll answer this one. I mainly chose BDO because the company's core values aligned with my like personal ones. So I wanted to work for a company that kind of had the same views and thought in a similar way as to I do. So giving importance to honesty and integrity, as well as promoting empowerment and personal responsibility. I think that those are kind of like the main values at BDO. And like when I like interviewed for them, those were the personal values that kind of overlapped with my ones. So that's why I chose BDO. Whereas why I chose accountancy and audit, I don't really have like a particular reason for that, if I'm being completely honest. I knew I wanted to do an apprenticeship, and most of the ones that I looked up kind of pointed and were like heavily based in this industry. So yeah, so that's kind of why I chose accountancy, well, audit. And I also think that one of the biggest misconceptions about accountancy, like Lucy mentioned, was that you have to be good at maths. Don't get me wrong, like I have nothing against maths. I even took it at A level. So yeah, but good luck to those of you who did take it at A level, by the way. I'm actually praying for you. But as Lucy mentioned, it isn't required at all. Like being an accountant is so much more about problem solving than actually doing complicated math. I think in the 6 months that I've worked here, the most maths I've done is like adding and subtracting. So none of you guys need to worry about being good at maths.
Great. And I actually have another kind of follow-up question for you, Jaren. Why did you choose an apprenticeship over university?
So I chose an apprenticeship over university simply because I wanted to do something a little bit different. I just wanted to like explore a new style of learning that was a bit different from school, because I knew that early on that I was the kind of person that learned better with like hands-on real life experience, as opposed to like learning from like textbooks and like kind of like from like presentations and lectures in school and stuff. So like during school and stuff, I thought that I learned like a lot more from like practicals, like in chemistry and stuff, like as opposed to like learning like the flame colors like from textbooks and stuff. I just learned it a lot more from when I actually did the practical, and I saw that lithium gave like a pinky red flame and like copper gave a blue one. Like those are the kinds of things that like stuck in my head, whereas if I read it in a textbook, it just wouldn't stay in my head as much. So yeah, so that's why I chose an apprenticeship mainly. We've all been going through like the same kind of education system since we start in nursery, and then like when we complete sixth form. And I think after sixth form is the only time we kind of get to decide like if we want to change that or not. So like you can either choose to go to university or choose to go to apprenticeship. I think most people tend to go to university because that's like the norm nowadays, and like I think it is changing a little bit more towards apprenticeships. So yeah, I kind of just decided that I thought I'd pick something that suited my learning style a little bit more, so I chose an apprenticeship.
Yeah, absolutely. And could you also speak a little bit on what the application process was like to get your apprenticeship?
Yeah, so the application process, I think there was quite a few stages for BDO. I think for most of the companies as well. There's a few aptitude tests that you have to do at the start. That's like kind of like stage one. And then after the aptitude test, you have I think like a video interview as such, and then after you pass the video interview, you get like an assessment center day that you can book. And then when you go into the assessment center day, there's like a group presentation, and there's an individual like presentation you have to do, as well as like an interview with like a manager. So yeah, so you kind of just I think you just need to take it a little bit like a step at a time, because as you pass like each stage, you'll feel like a sense of achievement, and I think that will give you like a little bit of adrenaline to like go on and do your best on the next stage as well. So like I think the aptitude tests were kind of like daunting at first, because they're so different from like any of the tests I've done in school and stuff. So those were a bit like different, I can say, for sure. But like don't worry, you can practice these online. Like I wasn't too sure at first, but after a few like applications, I realized that you can actually practice with these aptitude tests if you just Google it, and then like you can just pick a few ones. I think there's like a couple of websites that give you like free sample aptitude tests that you can practice on before you actually do your like stage, so you can like set yourself up for like to get the best results really. And then the video stage is quite scary as well, but you don't have to worry because there's not actually a person like videoing, like interviewing you. It's more like they'll give you like questions will pop up and you kind of just have to record yourself answering these questions. So you don't have to be nervous about the presence of like another person. You can kind of just be yourself and like answer the questions to the best of your ability without worrying about like somebody else watching you. I think the assessment center day was also quite nice. That's the one with like the group presentation, the single presentation, and like the individual interview. So the group presentation, I'll say, is like really nice because there's like other people with you as well. So they're all like in the same boat as you. And it doesn't really feel like a competitive environment because everyone's just like really nervous and like trying to like pretend they're all good and like not really nervous on the inside. So like that will kind of like make you like a little bit less nervous because like everybody's in the same boat and you're just like all like, oh, like what's going on, like I hope I don't mess up, like that kind of thing. So you can all bond over like the nervousness that you're feeling together in that room. And then the those kind of group presentations is mainly looking for like your team work skills really, because like audit again is like a really like team work heavy like sector, I guess you could say. So like that's kind of what they really want you to show like in the group presentation, whereas I think the individual one is just for you to show like any like skills that you didn't quite get to display in the group presentation. And then like the individual interview is a little bit more laid back. It's just to show your like personality like and how you'd fit into the company as a whole. So yeah, so those are what the application process looks like.
Definitely. Thanks so much for going through that with so much detail. And I think it's really good for students to know that it is different at every company, but what I've found is that it's also pretty similar. It's everywhere tends to have similar steps and a similar process. And like what you said, Jaren, is everyone in that room feels the same as you do. It's no one feels like, oh, I have this in the bag. Everyone's just as nervous as each other. So great time to network with people even at things like that. So Lucy, I think this one would be more for you. And there it is. Someone's curious what other school leaver programs or apprenticeships you offer. And then someone was asking about doing university and an apprenticeship. So maybe any kind of degree apprenticeships.
Yep, so the apprenticeships that we offer are a 4-year program. You study a professional qualification, and this professional qualification will depend on the stream that you choose to join. So if you remember in the slides that I just presented, we have 4 streams. So you choose which stream you would like to work for. And for example, if you choose audit, you will study the ACA like Jaren. And if you choose tax, you might study ACA CTA. It will depend on the stream that you choose, which qualification you'll study. These qualifications, you don't go to uni, you go to college, you get study leave and you get on the job training, but they are equivalent to a master's. They're a level 7. So some of you might be weighing up the differences between going to uni and taking on an apprenticeship. And I've seen a question in the chat box, which was a really good question about do you have to have a maths degree to be an accountant? And you don't. So that's what the myths we're trying to bust at the moment is you don't need a degree to be an accountant. And actually, and Jerry might find this as well, that friends that go to uni to study accounting and finance and then decide to be an accountant through a graduate scheme, you will actually get to the end goal. So you will qualify before they do, and they've gone to uni. So going to uni is just adding on that extra years where you can qualify as a qualified accountant at the end of the 4 years on an apprenticeship with us. So it's actually quicker than going to uni, which some of you may not know, which I find great, and it's why I'm so passionate about apprenticeships, because you don't need a degree.
I'll just add on to that because I think most of the people that do like these programs are actually graduates, and although they have to do like another 3 years, we only have to do 1 year extra, but we're literally at the same position as them, and like all the grads I've talked to have all said to me, oh my gosh, like I wish I did like a school leaver apprenticeship, because like you're going to be like 21, 22 and already like a chartered accountant, whereas I'm going to be like 27, 26 by the time I'm done. So like if I'd not gone to uni and just done an apprenticeship instead, then like I could have like saved like 3 years and the student loans that I have to now repay. So yeah, so like you don't need a degree to do accounting. You can just jump straight in with the apprenticeship and you'll be in the same place as anyone who's done a degree. So
yeah, great. With that, with going along with what you just said, someone was wondering, did you initially find it daunting going straight into full-time work immediately after leaving school?
yeah, so I did start in the lockdown as well. So like it was a little bit scary because like it was my first proper like professional like full-time job. So it was quite scary, but again, like the support is like amazing. Like even if like you're feeling like, oh no, like I don't really know quite what I'm doing, like all the seniors are really helpful and they're like really considerate because they know you've just like started working and like everything's so new and different. Like because I just started from A levels, like I hadn't done anything. I did like maths, biology and chemistry, so it was like nothing to do with accounting. Like all the words they were using, everything just sounded foreign, even though they were all talking in English. I was just like, oh no, like what's going on? So yeah, like it was a little bit hard, but you'll like find that like you have so much support that you don't need to like be nervous or worried. Like they'll know like everybody starts somewhere and like everybody knows that. So like you don't need to worry about like being under pressure or um like like having to like meet like everybody's standards, because like everybody's different. Like they know that everybody comes from like different walks of life and like starts at different places, so
Yeah,
it's fine. Like you don't
yeah,
need to be worried if you haven't had a full-time job before. Like I didn't either, so, and I'm still here doing fine. So
yeah. It sounds like a great environment. We have a question from, and I hope I'm saying your name right, Amina. Amina's wondering, what are some things I could do now to accelerate a career with BDO?
Great question. So I would, between now and making an application to start in September 2022, I would really try and build your network. So you're doing the right thing by attending events like this and finding out what is available and who you need to be connected with to make those choices and to make the right choice for your career. So try to attend as many events like this, do your research on companies' websites, have a think about what you want to do, whether that is accountancy or something completely different, and have a look at those top accountancy firms compared to the smaller firms on what they offer, and connect with those people. So for example, today you've met myself and Jerry, and feel free to connect with us after this, and when the roles do become live, just ask questions. So we do have a platform on our website that is called Talk to Us, and on there there's real life employees, so such as myself on there. You can ask questions to, there's trainees on there that you can ask questions to, so perhaps you ask a trainee from tax and a trainee from BS&O and find out what they do every day and see what interests you the most. So yeah, ask questions, build your network, and just try to do as much research as possible.
Yeah. And students, when employers on events like these invite you to connect with them on LinkedIn, take advantage of that, because you can do so much on LinkedIn. It's really nice of any employer to invite you to add them on LinkedIn. So maybe write Lucy or Jaren a message when you're adding them so that they know you were on the event today as well. Jaren, sorry, did you just want to say something?
yeah, so I was just going to say, like Lucy said, like do your research. And I think like one of the things that I did whilst I was applying to like apprenticeships and schemes like this was just I just went onto the company's like website and like looked at their values and everything, and just like read through the website for just like 5 minutes. I didn't try and do like an hour or like 2 hours of reading, because I knew like I wouldn't understand much of like anything that the company was talking about, apart from like the first 5 minutes. Like I'd just jot down anything that stood out to me from like the company, about the schemes, like any of the sectors that like kind of just like looked interesting to me, I just jot down like 5 bullet points, I'd say, for each like company's like website that you visit, and especially the values. Like if any of them align with yours, then just like literally just like write that down under the company's like name, and just compile a list of like all the companies and like the values, and like just, I don't know, say like 3-4 bullet points about anything that like seem to stand out to you on your 5 to 10 minute like searching of the company's website. I think that's definitely like one of the best things you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Can you change your apprenticeship to something else if you realize the original role is not actually what you want to do?
So it's dealt with on a case-by-case basis. So if you were to join, you to decide that it wasn't for you, then we would encourage you to speak to your people manager. So when everyone joins, everyone gets a people manager and a buddy. So it would be a case of you speaking to your people manager and having that conversation to see why you're not enjoying it. And then if there is anything we could do with changing your stream, or whether it's the team that you're working in or whatever it is, then that will be dealt with on a case-by-case basis. So as Jeremy said, there's lots of support. So it's just a case of you speaking out and just letting your people manager know what you're not happy with or what you need extra help with, and they will help you.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Could you both actually answer, why did you personally choose BDO?
Yeah, so I think Joan's already said that because of the values, but also for me, because of the culture. So I actually joined Moore Stephens, who merged with BDO. So this question's a bit different for me. But when I transitioned to BDO, everyone was just so friendly, and I just felt that I could ask anything, even if it was a silly question, there's always someone to help me. So yeah, it's the culture, everyone's so approachable and friendly, and that really goes a long way, I think, for myself anyway.
Thank you. Orla is wondering, how competitive is it applying to BDO for an apprenticeship, and how can they stand out in their application?
So good question. So our roles are really competitive. So we are the 5th largest accountancy firm. So we get lots and lots of applications. However, what I would say is to really try and apply early. So our roles do close on a rolling basis. So when the role is filled, it will close. So we do encourage you to keep an eye on when the roles are going to open in order to get your application in early and to be assessed as early on as possible. So just bear that in mind when you are making applications to us and other companies. It'll be a similar approach. In terms of standing out, this we don't actually look at we don't ask you to provide anything in the application apart from your details. So it's not that we're sifting through CVs and looking for particular things that I can give you tips on. But what I would say is just be yourself. We're really looking for you to show your skills and to be yourself throughout that application process. So once you do get through to the video interview in the assessment centre, really be yourself and just relax. And as we've already mentioned, everyone is in the same boat as you, and we know that you're going to be nervous. So don't let that put you off of applying or to go in for that video interview or go into that assessment centre. Just go for it and believe in yourself, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, students, anyone that would be hiring you for a job has been in your shoes before, so keep that in mind too. They know what it's like to be there, so you don't have to be overly nervous because they know exactly what you're going through. Can you speak a little bit on what career progression could look like within BDO?
Joanne, do you want me to take this one, or do you?
I can actually talk about it. Actually, I'll take this one. So I think in terms of career progression, I think first, I'll hopefully, fingers crossed, end up passing my ACA after the 4 years. And then I know I've spoken to a school leaver. He actually passed out this November, and he's just become like an audit senior. So like right now you're an audit junior. I think after you pass like a certain number of exams, you become a semi-senior, and then like finally once you've passed and got your qualification and are a member of the ICAW, I think you become an audit senior. So like the school leaver I was talking to, I think he just turned like 23 and he's just passed out and he's an audit senior now. So and then I think somebody else, he said someone that literally passed out a couple years ago has like progressed on to assistant manager. So like you just have to like, I think you can like build up like as the years go by, like, and you get more experience, you can kind of just like what's it called, like move on, yeah, and progress, that's the word. Progress. So like as he said, he's an audit senior now, so like hopefully after the 4 years I'll become an audit senior, and then like slowly progress onto like an assistant manager and then a manager. I'm not too sure if I want to go any higher than that, but you can definitely move on onto like director, partner. Of course, those kind of roles come with a lot of responsibility, but there is definitely a lot of room for you to progress throughout the years. So don't be afraid. There is a lot of room for growth.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree with Darren there. We have partners in the firm that start as apprentices, so there's definitely room for career progression. Actually, our managing partner, Paul Eagland, he actually started as an apprentice, not at BDO, he trained elsewhere, but he started his career as an apprentice, and obviously is now the managing partner, which is a fantastic story. So definitely would encourage you to read up on Paul if that interests you, the career progression.
Yeah. With that too, I know it's difficult to actually speak on career progressions because, I mean, it could be anything. How supportive is BDO in when you want to change the direction of your career path?
Yeah, we're really supportive with whatever your problem or your challenge may be. So if we do have trainees that take us up on a secondment or an international secondment. So for example, we have trainees that will complete the 4-year training and then they decide that audit isn't for them, for example, and they want to try tax, and there is an opportunity to do a secondment into tax for 6 months to a year. And we do have trainees that try that and then decide to stay, or they decide, actually, I love audit and that's what I want to do long term, so they'll move back to audit. We also offer international secondment. So obviously things are a bit different because of COVID at the moment, but when things do go back to some sort of normal, then we'll be running those again. So in particular in audit, we run a program with our Australia office. So we have some of our staff from Australia will come here during our busy season, and then we'll go to Australia during their busy season. So it's just a chance for you to change the direction of your career, or just to try something new if you want to challenge, or you like traveling and you want to see other parts of the world. That's the great thing about BDO, where we are an international network. There's lots of connections that can be made throughout your training that you can try post-qualifying. So yeah, there's definitely opportunities here.
Great, thank you. Lucy, you mentioned earlier that when you're applying, it's only the, you just ask for details. Do you ask for a cover letter at all?
There is an option to submit a CV and a cover letter currently, whether that will change for next season, so keep an eye on our website, but yeah, there is an option for that.
Great, thank you. Just looking through students, you've asked so many great questions today. Thank you for your participation. I'm curious, what are the top 3 skills needed to be a trainee auditor?
I'll take this one. So I would say the top 3 skills. The first skill I would say is communication. I think that is one of the lines you will probably have heard a billion times by now, but it's one of the skills I've actually improved massively over the 6 months that I've started working at BDO, because I've just been talking to so many different clients and like different team members during the time I've been here, and like that's just like helped me improve my communication skills so much, because like you kind of have to like adjust the way you talk to different clients depending on who you're talking to. So you might talk like a little bit less formally to like your to a fellow audit trainee as compared to like a client or like your audit senior. So it just helps like you like really improve your communication skills. I think another skill I would say is to be quite initiative. Like as an audit trainee, you've got to be like responsible for your like part of the work on your audit team, and like you've got to be able to like step up and pull your weight on the audit that you're working on, because like even though you're just a trainee, like you've still got responsibilities as part of the audit team. So that's why teamwork and like taking initiative like really plays a huge role as an audit trainee. And then I'd say like the last skill I'd say is quite important is to be really disciplined, I'd say, because like the ACA is a lot of hard work, especially because you're working alongside. So you need to be able to like keep yourself motivated and like find time to like study as well. I know it can be hard, like sometimes, especially after a long day at work, you're like, oh no, like I wish I could just like watch some Netflix and like not worry, but like you've got exams and like stuff you need to like worry about as well. So you need to be like, oh, I'll just get like 2 hours of work done and then I can chill. So you just need to be quite disciplined as an audit trainee, because like you've still got exams and stuff, and like there's no like teachers and like lecturers or like deadlines that you need to meet. It's kind of just you've got like the exam date and you've got your resources, and that's it. It's just you, your resources and your exam date. So it's really up to you to kind of study and like make use of your time and like plan wisely and be disciplined and like reach your goals. So yeah, that's like one of the last skills I'd say is quite needed for an audit trainee, or like any trainee, to be real.
Yeah, definitely. Those are great qualities to have in any employee, even too. Um, Great skills to have. Someone's curious which apprenticeship that you offer is the most independent role.
Depends on what you mean by that, but all of our apprenticeships offer the same thing. So they all offer on-the-job training, professional qualification, and all that support that Jerry and I have spoken about. The only difference will be with what stream you choose to take, so that what your end goal will be. So whether you become a tax advisor or whether you become an auditor, it will depend on what stream you choose. But they all involve teamwork and working independently. So I don't know if that answers the
Yeah,
question, but
no, definitely. And then I have a question kind of for both of you. Someone wants to know, what did daily tasks look like? I'm assuming as an apprentice during COVID. But then Lucy, I think you could speak also a little bit more on how has the company changed due to COVID?
yeah, so in terms of how we changed, so pre-COVID, we were all in the offices, and we have all been working virtually, which is that it has worked really, really well. There's lots of support, and BDO understand that working from home isn't ideal for everyone. So they've really tried to help us throughout this transition and throughout these changing and challenging times. So we've all got laptops. We've all been supported with, if you need like a second screen, mouse, keyboard, whatever you need, that BDO will help you get that. That we've also been offered like wellbeing sessions. So for those that are finding it particularly hard to work from home, you can join a webinar and find out how to deal with the anxiety of these changes and how to deal with, for example, I went on one the other day that was how to adjust to going back into the office and things like that. So they're so supportive, and actually recently I've become a mental health first aider. So I have been taught how to support others, and there's a number of us in the firm, and if any of our colleagues do just want someone to chat to, we're here for them. And yeah, so it's been a challenge, but it's been made a lot easier through the way that BDO has dealt with it and supported us and made us feel reassured throughout the whole time. And yeah, we're excited to see what the new working life will look like.
Yeah, definitely. And Jared, how about that day-to-day tasks with COVID?
Yeah, so I can actually, I went in for one of my clients as well, so I can speak from both sides because I was quite lucky. I think I'm possibly the only trainee that actually got to go in to a client site for an audit. So I can compare the both of them. So I'd say it's really quite different. Like usually what you do as an auditor is go in to the client site and then like sit with the client like team, and like you both like work on the audit together, whereas right now it's all over email and Teams, and like you don't really like get to meet them as much. It's just a quick, oh, let's just hop on a call and discuss this. like what's happening here, what went wrong here. That's what you usually do at home when you don't really get to go into a client site. Whereas when I went into the client site, it was just a little bit more personal. Like you got to know like each of the members, put a face to the names, to say the least, and then like it was just a little bit more like comfortable, I guess you could say, because like I think with everything being online, you have to kind of like double and triple check before you send an email. Oh, have I made any typos? Does this sound okay? Am I being too passive aggressive in this email? That kind of things that you have to worry about, but you don't have to worry about that when you go into the client and you're like all working together in one space. I think you have to worry a lot less about like other things, and you can kind of just focus on your like work and your tasks a little bit more, and like building like a good like relationship with the client. So yeah.
Yeah,
Whereas like
absolutely.
working from home, I think there's a few other factors that you've got to like watch out for while you're trying to like build a good relationship with the client. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely huge differences between working from home and working in person. And I'm sure a lot of these students are going to experience both of them just as well as we did. Um, oh, I had a question here that I wanted to ask. Oh yeah, someone is curious, how much longer is it to become a chartered accountant through university compared to an apprenticeship?
Yeah, so if you were to go to uni and then join a graduate scheme and become a chartered accountant, then it would take 3 or 4 years, depending on your uni course, and then another 3 years to qualify. Whereas if you come straight from school, it is 4 years and then you qualify.
Great, thank you. And then just being conscious of time, we only have time for a couple more questions today. But what days are your apprenticeships, and what is the timing of apprenticeships? Maybe how much you spend on your work as well.
Yeah. So Joan, did you want to take?
Yeah. So I think for the apprenticeship, you don't really have like set times of the day to really like spend on it. It's just like if you have college for like some exams you have college for. So like accounting, I think for my accounting exam I had like 7 days of college. So that's 7 days, and then I think that was it for the accounting thing, and then you've just got to study in your own time. That was it for accounting. And then for assurance, I think I had like 3 days of college, and then I got like and then I had like half a day off for the exam. That's about it. And then I think for the I'm working on tax right now, and that's self-study, so you get like 2-3 days off for study leave, so you can study for your tax exam. But the rest of it you've got to spend in the evenings, or if you're a morning person, an hour before work. You've just got to put in time like anywhere, like you've got to fit it around your working hours, so like 9 to 5 or 9:30 to 5:30 is when you do your work. You can't really like study during work hours because you've got like work and like client meetings and like all kinds of other things to be getting on with, so you don't really get a chance to like look at your revision or your like notes during the day. So that's why you've got to be really disciplined, like I said, and spend time for your apprenticeship and your exams during the evenings after work. So yeah, I think that's why it's kind of different to like university and stuff. You've got to balance both things at once. You've got to balance your work and your studies at the same time. So you've really got to find a balance for both of these things when you're doing an apprenticeship.
Yeah, no, definitely that makes sense. Sorry, Lucy, did you want to say something on that?
No, that's perfect.
Oh, great, great, great. Well, it looks like we only have about a minute left here. So students, thank you again so much for your questions and your engagement today. It's been really great. And we'll be in contact tomorrow with your certificates, as well as if you won the extra certificates. Lucy and Jaron, thank you so much for being here today and giving these students such great information. It'll really help them as they're leaving school. And students, just lastly, if you want to go ahead and scan the QR code on the screen, it will give you access to different pathway events that you're able to attend, as well as here, I'm going to pop a type form in the chat that we would really appreciate if you would go ahead and just fill out for us. So thanks again so much for being here, everyone.
Thank you so much for listening, and thank you for your great questions as well. Really appreciate it, and hopefully see some of you in the future.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
So hi, everyone. Welcome to our Accelerator weekday on professional services. We're here with PwC today, and we're super excited about the fantastic session that they have planned for us. If you haven't already, please do go ahead and fill out the polls, as well as scan the QR code, and it'll give you access to tons of great events, one-on-one mentoring sessions, and different things that'll help you as you're in school and leaving school. I also want to note that right now we're with PwC. A little bit later at 1 o'clock this afternoon, we will be with BDO. The only way that you can get the certificate for the day is if you do stay on the whole time. So please make sure that you make it to both sessions. And then on top of the certificate that everyone will get, which by the way is really great, you can add it to your CV, your LinkedIn, and it's really great for employers to see when you're applying to jobs. There will also be 3 extra certificates that will come with a prize. So we're doing best communicator, best collaborator, and best question. So those pretty much speak for them. Please stay engaged through the sessions, ask questions, interact in the chat box, and just stay engaged. You're going to get the most out of this. You're going to get out of this what you put into it. So make sure that you're engaged. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to PwC.
Okay, morning, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me quite clearly. My name's David Lloyd. I'm a manager at PwC. So really great to be here this morning. Sounds like you've got a full and action-packed day ahead of you. And I'm going to be, I've got a comment already. Somebody can't hear me. Can you hear me, Rosie? Am I coming through clearly?
I can hear you. If you can't hear him, maybe try logging out and logging back into the webinar and making sure your sound is on your computer.
So yeah, I work at PwC. I'm a manager at PwC, and I'm based in our London office. So I'm going to be talking to you a little bit this morning about who PwC are, touching a little bit on our opportunities. My colleague Amanda has joined as well. She's going to be monitoring the chat box to pick up any of your questions. And we also have 3 of our ambassadors from the business who've kindly agreed to come along and talk to you as well. So I'm going to turn my camera off so you can just see the slides. If we can move on to the next slide, please. So I've touched upon it briefly. We're going to talk a little bit about who are PwC, a little bit about the different programs we have, the school and college leaver, technology, accounting degrees, a little bit of trying to understand what's the right route for you, and then we'll touch upon the application process and the next steps as well. So I know somebody put in the chat, who are PwC? What does professional services mean? So we'll touch upon that now. And Rosie, if you can move forward for me and to the next slide as well, please. So who are PwC? Well, traditionally, we are what's known as an accounting firm, but we have far more strings to our bow than simply doing audits and accounting. We are based all across the UK, but we're also a global firm as well. We work with a variety of clients, from government organizations to startups to public sector bodies, through to manufacturing and retail companies. So we have a real selection of clients. So there's something for everyone in the firm. You can see we're a large firm with over 20,000 employees in the UK. We work with over 25,000 clients. We're one of the largest recruiters, offices in over 20 locations in the UK. And I mentioned it as well, we're a global firm. So if you are really passionate about traveling or working abroad or experiencing different cultures and what it's like to work in different locations, we're certainly the company to come and join. So what do we do? And if we look at the next slide, now, we are what's called a professional service firm, and we provide business services to our clients, and we operate in different areas, business areas. So we have legal, consulting, operate, tax, risk, actuarial, technology, and deals and audit. And I'm going to cover a little bit more about what these different business areas provide routes into the firm with. But it's slightly complicated, and there's far more information on our website, so I won't go too much into the detail here today. But the different business areas all provide different services. So tax, for example, would provide corporate tax services to multinational corporations down to high net worth individuals, also working with companies to make sure that employees are paying the right amount of tax and the company's paying the right amount of tax as well. Technology, we'll touch upon that a little bit later, but it does what it says on the tin. We offer lots of different technological solutions to our clients. Deals, for example, that is all about helping businesses in crisis. So mergers and acquisitions, administrations, insolvencies as well. Consulting, for example, is all about helping businesses grow, work smarter, and be more effective. So I would recommend you have a look at our careers website, and you can see a little bit more about what all the different business areas do. But I don't want to spend too much on that because I could be here all morning, and I'm very conscious we haven't got a great deal of time, and I've got a lot of content to get through. But if we think about the different teams you could join, and this is what the next slide will show, they're all the different areas of the business at PwC that you can join us on a school and college leaver program. So you can join straight from school and work for us as an apprentice, or you're able to join one of our degree programs. So you're able to get the blended degree experience where you would go to university, but you would also come and work for us on placement as well. So we have straightforward opportunities to come join us straight out of school, which are our apprenticeship routes. We have the graduate routes, which you have to have completed a degree to come and join us. And you can see that's an actuarial, legal, and risk. And then on the left-hand side, we have our Flying Start degree programs. So that is programs where you would go to university, have the university experience, and throughout your time at university, come and work for us on placement as well. So to touch upon that a little bit more, we have so many fantastic career opportunities at PwC, and all these routes can lead to a successful career with us and progression right to the top. So we have what's called the Virtual Insight Week for Year 12 students. That's an opportunity to spend a week shadowing with us and learning a bit more about the business, hearing from different people, understanding what we do, who we work with, and how we do it. And that's open to Year 12 students only. And then we have the school leaver program. So once you've completed your A-levels, you would come and join us on a school leaver program directly. We have what's called the Flying Start degrees, where you apply via UCAS to the university, and the degree is run in partnership with PwC. So it gives you qualifications, work experience, you get paid when you are working with us, and you have the option to come and join us full time. And then we have our straightforward routes for those who are undergraduates and graduates. So sandwich a year degree placement as part of a sandwich degree, summer internships, and our graduate routes. So you're here to know a little bit more about the school and college leaver programs. So if we move on to the next slide, so this covers what our apprenticeship program straight out of school looks like. So we offer opportunities in consulting, tax, audit, and in Northern Ireland, we offer deals and operate. Now, this is earn while you learn, so you come and join us, you get a full-time salary, and you're also completing a funded qualification whilst you are with us as well, and apprenticeships can last between 10 and 4 years depending on the team. It's a professional rather than academic style of learning and qualification, so it's very blended. You're studying and learning whilst you're working, but you are doing real work and taking on real responsibility across a range of client situations, which is great for you in the early stages of your career. And you get excellent support on the job as well, and whilst you're studying. So you have all the support in place to help you progress. There's no limit to the long-term progression that you have, even without a degree at PwC. There's a misconception that you have to have a degree to come and work with us. That is not true. And of course, if you come and join us straight out of school, you have no university debt, which is quite a big, unique selling point for lots of people as well. You need between 96 and 112 UCAS points, dependent on the different business areas. Now, I can see lots of questions coming into the chat. I won't be able to pause and answer them, but hopefully Amanda will be picking up the questions, giving you responses, and we'll have the opportunity to answer some questions at the end as well. Okay, so now I'm going to hand over to Max, who has joined our school and college leaver program. Max joined management consulting and is based out of Manchester. So Max, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can, and I can see you. Thanks for joining us. Over to you.
Wonderful. Okay, cool. So hi everyone, I'm Max. As was just said, I'm in the consulting practice in Manchester. I joined in September last year. So yeah, I'll just give you a quick little kind of run through of my journey. So I went to college in Preston, where I did maths, business, and accounting. As you can probably tell, I did really like numbers. I felt as though that's where that's what I was best at. And then I would say that I was, I mean, when I was at college, they really pushed me to kind of be my best. But when I finished college, I actually tried to get this job now, but for whatever reason, I wasn't successful. So therefore I went off and I worked for a cruise ship company for just over a year. And then when I came back from that, I was like, okay, PwC is something that I would love to do. So I came back and I applied again. And obviously I was successful this time. If I was going to talk about PwC, what kind of life is like at PwC, I would say it's fantastic. As was just said, the amount of support that I get and how much I am kind of pushed to be my best and to kind of push myself out of my comfort zone, it is really good. I would say I was very happy that I chose this over going to uni, because as was said before, there is no debt. I'm earning whilst I am learning, and I feel that I feel like I'm able to progress as a person, as well as kind of in my career, which is something that if I went to uni, I'm not sure that I would have had. But in terms of me now at PwC, I'm currently on my second rotation. So what happens when you join as a school leaver in consulting? The first 12 months is 2 internal rotations. Obviously 6 months, 6 months each. So the first one finished in March, and this one that I am doing now is working in a team called International Development, and quite a lot of that work is all kind of working on something called bids, which is where we try and bid for work, and then, okay, how's best to try and put this? So some kind of clients will put out work, and then we will try and win that work to then bring the money in, and then for the consulting practice to then go and work on that. And when I was working on that, it's kind of really good, because it gives me the kind of chance to actually understand how big firms like this make their money and how they work on an internal kind of basis. And in terms of the exams, I've just finished my second set. I've got one more left, and then I have something called an EPA, which is basically just like an overall kind of view of your time so far. But yeah, it's just fantastic. Absolutely love it.
Great. Thank you, Max. And I know that you will be available for questions at the end. So
Yes.
a really concise kind of overview of your career there, and to go from a cruise ship to PwC, quite a radical career change as well.
It was.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, yeah, a good one nonetheless. So thank you for that. Okay, so technology at PwC, and the next slides will just kind of give you a little bit of context to what I'm going to talk about. But technology is changing the way we work, the way we live, and the way we communicate, and is really accelerating change across business throughout the world. And technological change is happening faster than ever before. And for our clients, who are businesses, governments, charities, as well as individuals, they're having to work hard to keep up and innovate to keep up as well. So, you know, if you kind of think about some large companies, that BlackBerry is one that stands out. You know, they had the market cornered in terms of their mobile device, and until Apple came along, and they didn't keep up with changes, they didn't innovate, and obviously they were left behind in terms of market share. But the way we work with our MySpace, that's another great example indeed. The way we work with our clients and way we work with technology is really important at PwC. And, you know, please put in the chat any companies that have disappeared from a high street because they didn't keep up with technological change. You know, I've kind of mentioned BlackBerry Blockbusters is another great example. Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. So yeah, technology, our world is changing. Technology offers great opportunities, but with it comes lots of risks as well. And the next slide will show you how PwC fits into this. So we provide our clients with solutions to important problems. We offer advice to organizations of all sizes in all sectors as well. And many of the problems that we tackle are now caused by technology and or can be solved by technology. We're a professional service firm. We provide specialist advice and support to businesses of all sizes. And it's important for us to work with our clients to help solve their problems as well. So going on to the next slide, there are lots of tech teams at PwC, and we have a breadth of tech expertise as well. So, you know, if you're thinking about the kind of problems in the world which are caused by tech, so for example, hacking, new products out competing old ones, loss of jobs due to automation, there are lots of problems that can be solved by tech. So I want you to kind of have a look at the slide, and in your comments, in the comments box, just kind of put in there the different teams you think we have at PwC. Yeah, some great comments all coming in. Yeah, brilliant. Well done, everyone. So the answers are on the next slide. So yeah, these are some of the teams where our apprentices do their placements. So cybersecurity, we have a huge cybersecurity team. We've got lots of our own confidential and restricted data and information. So we've got a huge global cyber team supporting PwC. We also have other teams that are helping businesses. Tax, for example, is a complex landscape, lots of processes, systems, and data. Many of these processes are repetitive, and human error can lead to huge mistakes. Robotics, thinking about how to use robots to improve processes, automate manual tasks, and increase efficiency. Drones is a really interesting one. We've got a drones team, so considers how different organizations can use drones to conduct processes, surveys, and tasks more effectively, and they're being used a lot in remote places. And then our AI team, for example, does a lot of exciting things. Our software robotics helps clients to operate their business more efficiently by automating or eliminating repetitive, mundane tasks through implementing leading software robotics solutions. So I can't go through all of them because there's so much I could cover, but gives you a little bit of a flavor of the different teams that our kind of school and college leaver do join. And this is where you fit in. So on the next slide, you can see we recruit and develop people like you, people who are great at solving problems, passionate about technology, and can help us and our clients solve those important problems. Now, we have a technology degree apprenticeship program. So if we can move on to the next slide, please. And this is a BSc in computer science or software engineering degree program. So we run them at the University of Birmingham, Leeds, and Queen's Belfast University. So the entry requirements vary depending on the uni, and you have to apply directly to the university, not to PwC. So it's a university degree run in partnership with PwC. 4 years in length, 3 integrated placements. It's fully funded, so you get paid when you're on the degree and you get your tuition fees paid as well. So a really, really, really unique selling point there as well. And if you complete the placement successfully and graduate with a 2-1, we will offer you a graduate role to continue your career at PwC. So I'm now going to bring in Laura, who has joined our technology degree apprenticeship program. Laura, do you want to show your screen and say hello?
Sure. Hiya.
There you are. Perfect. Right, we'll hand over to you now, and you're going to, I know the slide says XXX, your name is Laura, we know that, not triple X. Can you give us a bit of a career overview?
Yeah, sure. So just to set some, give some context as well, I'm currently on my 3rd year, so that means I'm in my year placement with PwC. But going back a bit, so at 6th form, I decided to do psychology, physics, and maths. And I did computer science GCSE, and when it came to leaving 6th form, I kind of decided I really wanted to do computer science. And then I came across the PwC technology degree apprenticeship, and that really grabbed me because it kind of gave me the balance of like real world projects, and of course the benefit of having a salary and not having to worry about tuition fees, whilst also getting that university experience and doing the degree I wanted to do. So I proceeded with that. And then in my 1st year of the degree, we kind of covered the basics of computer science, did some robotics, and learned about artificial intelligence, whilst also covering more the theoretical the side of computer science, such as like algorithms and logic, all of which was catered for someone with like no computer science background, whilst also catering towards someone who'd maybe done computer science A-level. So there was a whole host of people, and it catered towards all abilities, which was great. So I wouldn't be concerned at all if you didn't have any sort of computer science experience going into a computer science degree. And then after completing that year, in the summer, I went along to do website development for PwC in the Birmingham office. And that was really great because I was kind of applying what I'd learned in my 1st year for like real clients. and I had a lot of like felt like great, active experience working on like real projects and real work, which a lot of my friends at university struggled to get, because it's very hard to kind of get those internships, especially in your first year. And there's a lot of them even going into the second and third years. There's a lot of process involved into the application process. Whereas because after my initial interview and after getting onto the program, I'd already got those 2 placements in year industry sorted for me. So that was a great pressure off my shoulders. So then going into my second year, I kind of returned back to university and did like more modules focusing more on the application of computer science, such as cybersecurity, and then going a bit more in depth into artificial intelligence and other programming languages. And that kind of brings me to this year. So I'm in my third year, and I'm currently working in tax technology, and I'm working on an artificial intelligence product, which is around legal documents. So it will kind of review all of their legal documents and kind of generate a report for the lawyer to use to make their life a lot easier and save a lot of time for us and for our clients. So next year I'm returning back to my degree to complete my final year. And after that, I'll have the opportunity to return to PwC if I get a 2-1. And if not, if I chose to, I could leave without paying any money back to PwC and leave with like a great experience and start to my career.
Brilliant, Laura. Thank you very much for that. That was really interesting, and you're working on something there which is quite fascinating, and probably people would not make a connection between tax and artificial intelligence as well. But thank you for giving us such a clear summary there. Okay, Laura will be available, hopefully picking up any of your questions, and we'll be able to answer some of them at the end of our session today. So we're going to move on now to accounting at PwC, or audit, for example, is one of the accounting works our employees do, but also tax and deals. But audit is our biggest business area. And we have 3 main lines of service. Or business areas. So lines of service are our business areas, but it's what we internally call them. And audit, tax and deals are the lines of service where our accountants are mainly based. So you might have accountants who work in other business areas such as risk or consulting, but those 3 are the key main lines of service where our clients need accountants' knowledge and expertise. So audit is where we help our clients by ensuring their accounts and financial statements are a true and fair representation of that company. So we do that so it gives investors and society confidence. So you might have seen, for example, a couple of years ago, there was a story about Tesco's having a big black hole in their accounts where they hadn't reported accurately what their accounts were. So that's one example, for example. So it's about checking the financial statements of companies and making sure they're an accurate reflection of what is reported. Now, there are a number of ways, and if we look at the next slide, there are a number of ways in which accountants support their clients. So the main way is sharing their expertise. PwC doesn't sell a product. We generate revenue by clients paying us to provide specialist advisors who can help them solve their business problems. So all accountants study and qualify for the ACA qualification. This then means they are members of the regulatory body called the ICAEW. And the ACA involves exams on accounting and law and ethics to ensure accountants are fully aware of the legislation and the knowledge needed to do the job. Accountants, if working in external audit, are independent to that company, which means any opinions and findings are not biased and are true and fair. So imagine if you owned a business and you were allowed to decide how much that company was worth without any external person checking it. It wouldn't be accurate and wouldn't be very fair, it would be very biased. So that's where an accountant's role comes in. And accountants have access to the latest technology. At PwC, we use a number of accounting software tools, which allows us to work in the most efficient way. Often accountants also need to visit clients at their offices or locations, which is what we call client sites. And finally, we also offer clients access to events and webinars to offer guidance and provide information. So for example, in light of COVID-19, PwC created reports, podcasts, and webinars to help support clients through the uncertain times. If we move on to the next slide, please. And then if we move on to the next slide as well. Okay. So in terms of Flying Start, I mentioned it earlier, we offer a Flying Start degree program as well. And this is our audit accounting Flying Start degree program. So we run these at Manchester, Newcastle, Nottingham, Reading, and Queen Mary University of London. Degree duration, again, is 4 years in length. We have 3 paid and integrated placements whilst you complete the degree. You complete 12 of the 15 ACA exams. So the exams I mentioned earlier to be a qualified chartered accountant, and the entry requirements, again, they differ per university. Again, you apply directly to the university through UCAS for a place on the program. We also now offer financial bursaries as well to those from a lower socioeconomic background to support with the day-to-day costs of university life, because we do acknowledge it's very expensive. And if you meet the eligibility and you do join one of our applicable Flying Start accounting programs in autumn 2022 onwards, a £10,000 bursary can be awarded to you, split across the 4 years of the degree. Now, the bursary, you apply to the university as well. They administer all of that. You have to have secured a place on the program. But if you go through the process, that is something you can explore a little bit more in detail. So our next ambassador is Amar. So Amar joined the University of Nottingham Flying Start program. Amar, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
There you are, perfect. Nice to see you.
Great.
I'll hand over to you. Again,
Cool.
your name is not XXX, is it? So it is Amar. The slide's not been updated. Sorry about that.
That's fine, no problem. Yep, my name is Mark. As was mentioned, I joined via the Flying Start route at the University of Nottingham. I was at school, I studied maths, chemistry, and economics. And if I'm honest, I probably didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I know I enjoyed numbers to some extent and wouldn't have minded a career doing something related to that. I think I did really enjoy school, but I think one of my worries at the time was finding the right sort of career for me. I just wanted to find a role and a career that I actually enjoy. So I applied for the Flying Start program. And for me, it seemed like a great way to save some time doing your exams whilst you're at university. And then you also get some hands-on experience whilst you're there, and you also get paid for it. So I actually did my 3 placements at the Birmingham office. And then I moved over to London in September of 2018. I think whilst I've been at PwC, it's been a great firm for me to work at. It's been so flexible, and it's somewhere where I'm continuously learning and growing. You're given so much responsibility from early on. So I think within a year of leaving university, I was speaking to CEOs, CFOs of these big companies and understanding what these companies were doing and kind of how they were looking to grow over the next couple of years, which was really interesting. And yeah, just kind of talking on the flexibility point, I think PwC have been so flexible in terms of offering you chances to learn about other sides of the business, such as at the moment, I'm currently doing a secondment within PwC's deals line of service. So helping out companies during a merger and acquisition and providing advice. Providing advice. So yeah, it's been a kind of great couple of years, a few years since I've been here. And yeah, I think it's a really good firm to work for.
Thank you, Amar. And I think that's one of the great things about our firm as well, is that you can have what we call secondments, or cycles of experience, and you can do secondments within different lines of service. You can do secondments to our clients. You can also second abroad. This is where you would go and work for PwC short term, or even a little bit more long term, a year, 2 years. Abroad, I have colleagues who have seconded to Australia, to America as well. So that's the beauty. When you come and join us into one business area, you aren't necessarily pigeonholed into that business area for the rest of your career. You have to start out there, and obviously you get your qualification, but then once you have, particularly with the ICAW, the Chartered Accountant qualification, the world is your oyster. Really great, thank you very much there. So you'll be on hand as well to answer any questions, hopefully at the end. So also, just to touch upon, we have what's called our Flying Start Business Management Program. And this is run in Northern Ireland at Ulster University. So you gain a degree, but this time in customer operations. So you're working customer management, financial crime, or business operations team. So very different to our accounting degree. It's more focused on business management. Again, a 4-year apprenticeship program with the prospect of permanent employment. And the tuition fees are paid for. So much like our technology degree apprenticeship program, your tuition fees are paid for in full. They're not paid for in full on our accounting Flying Start program. They are paid for in full on our technology and our business management program. And for all our degree programs, you receive PwC induction training. So PwC come out to university, we run lots of sessions, induction sessions. You are given a kind of full keep warm approach, which will prepare you for coming to join us on placement. Okay, so if we move on to the next slide. Now, we know that going straight into work is not for everyone, and some people want to go to university and study non-business degrees. So this can be anything from engineering to humanities to arts or languages. And we take applicants from all degree disciplines. You don't have to just simply complete a business or economics or accounting degree to come and join us at PwC. So we have lots of opportunities. If going to university is your thing and you're thinking, okay, I'd like to do a placement at university, or come and join us as a graduate. So we've got our diversity in business programs. So this is for year 1 and penultimate year students at university. So we have our Women in Business program. This is where you'd work with a female leader, understanding what it takes to make the top at PwC, and you get a day-to-day insight of what we do. And we also have our Black Talent in Business program. So this is a 3-day virtual program, which could lead to an offer of an internship or 11-month placement with the aim of securing a graduate role with us and completing your degree. Our summer internship is for penultimate year students, so in between years 2 and 3 of a 3-year degree, or years 3 and 4 of a 4-year degree. Anything from 6 to 10 weeks, opportunities in lots of different business areas. Again, you'd be working with clients, understanding what we do and the wider business issues. We have our work placements. These are our 11-month work placement programs. If you end up doing a sandwich degree, and what that means is 1 year of a 4-year degree has to be in industry or business. You can come and work for us for 11 months in that year. again can lead to a graduate role. And then we have our structured graduate training pathways across all areas. Again, the length of the program will vary dependent on the area that you join. So how do I know which route is right for me? Because I've given you a tremendous amount of information this morning, and there's so many options, it can be hard to know where to start, but there is something for everyone. So on the next slide, think about what your career values are. What are your career goals? They are the beliefs and ideas that are important to you at this point and which you can use to guide your actions. So your work values are the subset of your beliefs and ideas that are related to the job or occupation you may be interested in. So matching your values will help you hopefully achieve career satisfaction. And by no means is this an extensive list. Values vary from person to person and there's no right or wrong one, but you can see there are a couple of example values which maybe could help you identify what your values are. So, feel free to jot them down on a piece of paper, think about them. Hopefully some of them you're already relating to, others you might be thinking, I've never even thought of that. I think we'll all say the bottom middle one is probably a value that's important to everyone in their career. So that's quite self-explanatory and doesn't need to be kind of touched upon in detail. And then if we go to the next slide, there's an example there of how you can identify what your individual career values are. You can draw a table similar to this, spend some time kind of identifying what your career values are and putting them into the different categories. And by all means, put in the chat box what those values are if you want, the values that are important to you. As I said, for some it's career development, working with people, opportunity to travel, opportunity to solve challenging problems, to lead teams, for example, build relationships. You might find once you start doing it, some of those priorities may come as a surprise to you. And in terms of the benefits to you of joining one of our programs, the Flying Start degree program, for example, at PwC, there's a huge support structure in place. And this is relevant for all of us, full-time staff as well as placement students, but work, study and life balance is important. So is diversity. You have support from PwC, some great rewards and benefits, prestige of the university degree and of placements and coming to work with us as well. So everything on that slide can be linked to any of our roles, not just the Flying Start degree program. Obviously, there's slight nuances to each one, but for a full-time member of our staff, for example, there's the employment opportunities, the work, study and life balance, diversity of teams and clients to work with, the support internally from PwC, rewards and benefits, and the prestige of working for a global company and everything that can open for you. Okay, if we move on to the very next slide, I'm going to hand over a little bit now to our ambassadors. So that's Laura, Max, and Amar. If I start with you, Laura, then Max, and then Amar, perhaps you can just touch very briefly upon how you decided on your career, the particular program that you joined and why PwC.
Yeah, sure. So as I mentioned earlier, I think I kind of had my heart set on doing a computer science degree because I really enjoyed the kind of formal teaching side of maths and physics. And I also really enjoyed solving problems in technology. And for me, I really wanted that like technology foundation from a technology degree apprenticeship. And yeah, I really wanted to learn computer science, and that was the best way for me to further my career in that area.
Okay, great. And Max?
For me, so the reason why I picked consulting was I've think it's really, really varied. So every day is different, working with different people on different tasks, and that's something that I enjoy. And in terms of PwC, it was definitely the support that I was kind of receiving. So right from right from first day, it was very, very clear that everyone was here to help. And if I had any kind of problems, or if I ever asked for help, there was always someone there. And there is no such thing as a silly question at PwC, which I have found out many times. But yeah.
Okay, and Amar, over to you.
Yep. Yeah. So for me, the Flying Start program seemed like the best route, just because I wanted to enjoy both the uni life, and then also kind of get a bit of experience whilst I was kind of doing so. And then also by doing your exams at the same time, it just means that you do kind of save out on a year. And I think if you know you do want to go into that route, then for me it did make sense. And I think why audit? I think it's, like I kind of mentioned before, it's a lot of responsibility early on, but you've also just got a huge network of support and kind of people who have been in the exact same position as you and kind of have a lot of the relevant experience to kind of get you there. So for me, that was kind of why I chose the Flying Start and audit.
Okay, great. And everyone's got a different reason for choosing the pathway that they've joined. Everyone's circumstances are different, and I guess all of you had very different career values as well. And that kind of feeds back into what I discussed in some of the previous slides, that everyone has a different reason, and it's important to be able to identify what is important to you. Okay, so if we now move on to the next slide, and I'll touch upon the application process a bit. So if we go on to the next slide, please. So this is the application process. The steps highlighted in red are for the Flying Start only. So steps 2, 1, and 6 are just if you were to apply for one of our Flying Start programs. You would make a UCAS application. You would do a PwC online application form, a PwC online assessment, a video interview. You would complete an assessment center, and then you would get your results date and your offer confirmation. It is also relevant for our technology degree apprenticeship program. So 1 through to 6. If you applied to the Insight Week, which is just the Year 12 virtual Insight Week, it's just steps 2 and 3 which are applicable. And if you were to join us straight out of school, it is steps 2 to 6 which are applicable. It's just step 1 is not applicable. So hopefully that's quite clear. So if you wanted to do one of our degree programs, it's steps 1 to 6. If it was just the virtual Insight Week, steps 2 and 3. And if you wanted to join us straight out of school, it is steps 2 to 6. The skills we look for, so you can see the different competencies there: whole leadership, business acumen, technical and digital, global and inclusive, and relationship. And these are some of the behaviors and attributes of the PwC professional. We don't just use these to assess external applicants, we use them for all our people as well, to set their performance objectives and to be assessed against annually. So this is part of the job performance review process. So this information can be found on our careers website. It is what you will be assessed as well against the when you go through the assessment process. We're looking at examples of all the different attributes, and you can see under each attribute you've got a couple of examples. So whole leadership is teamwork, problem solving. Business acumen is quality in everything you do, understanding how business works. Technical and digital, this is about doing a piece of work and doing it well. An example of this before you join PwC would be your exams or coursework, making sure you do it to the highest standard. Global and inclusive is about seeking new perspectives, sharing ideas, and being open and flexible. And then relationships is about communication skills, building relationships. And we also, throughout the recruitment process, will be trying to understand what your career motivation is for applying to PwC. So why the role and program, and what can you offer PwC, and what do you see PwC as being able to offer you in terms of your development? If we go on to the next slide, on our careers website, you can Google PwC careers and then select school and college leavers. When you click on the PwC careers link, we have an employability hub. Feel free to scan the QR code, but there's lots of tools on there about interviews, assessment days, skills we're looking for, importance of well-being and looking after yourself as well, and you can kind of explore your own preferences and learn more about a kind of different business areas. And if you want to learn more about our degree program, we have an event today from 4:30 to 6. You can hear about our degree programs in technology, accounting and business. You can network with PwC and our different universities. You can hear from recent joiners, and you can learn more about the UCAS and PwC selection as well. So again, you can scan the QR code, or you can find information relating to the event on our careers website. So Amanda, if you could just put the link to the PwC careers website in the chat, that would be great.
Yeah, will do.
Thank you. Okay. We have around 8 minutes, I think. So, Amanda, if you want to pick up any of the questions and that you think are relevant to answer, or maybe hand them over to our ambassadors.
Yeah, sure. So Max, one for you. It was just a question around exams that are involved with the school and college leaver programme and how that compares to perhaps being at university in terms of those volume of exams. So maybe you want to talk a little bit more about the structure of the programme.
Yeah, sure. So how it works, we have 5 exams in just under 2 years. So, and they come in blocks of 2. So as I said before, I've just finished my second block. The first 2 were around Christmas. The second were maybe a month or 2 ago. And then my final one is Christmas coming up. In terms of the actual content, they are general kind of they are general business. And then as you progress further, they become much more specific to do with consulting. Now, if you're a bit kind of worried about, or I've not done business before, or I don't know what consulting is, they are very good at kind of bringing everyone up to the same sort of level. So especially the first ones, it's all about kind of that kind of general overview. And then, yeah, as you kind of get more into them, they become a bit more specific to the area that you're doing. What else about the exams? Obviously, they are quite tough. You have to kind of work for them, but I guess that comes with any kind of test that you do. But when you obviously pass them, it is a kind of very good feeling.
Thanks, Max. Yeah, and I think it's just important to note that each of the school and college leaver programmes will be structured slightly different, as Steph mentioned earlier on in the presentation. So it's just worth kind of keeping a check on our careers website. I've popped the link in the chat for you all. So if there is something specific you're interested in looking into, do have a deeper dive on the website. Okay, thanks, Max. Just conscious of time, we have got one more question that I did want to put out to Amma, if that's okay. The other questions that are either through the Q&A box or the chat box, hopefully they've either been covered throughout the session or you'll be able to access the answers on that careers website. But obviously do feel free to get in touch with us if you have got any further questions following this session. You can find contact details on our careers website as well. So Amma, one for you then. I know you spoke about this in your introduction a little bit earlier, but just in really simple terms, what is an audit? I'm not sure if you can hear me, Amma.
It looks like you might be frozen.
I think you might be. Let's see if we can. Can you hear us, Amma? Okay, no worries. Okay,
no.
so for that question then, again, you can access the information on the website, so do have a look on there. And as I said, do follow up if you have got any further questions on the back of that. And then Laura, just finally for you, in terms of work-life balance, how would you say that is with the tech degree apprenticeship?
Yeah, on the tech degree apprenticeship, I say it's pretty good because of the way it's split between university and PwC. So during term time, I won't really have any PwC work to do. And I'll be able to fully immerse myself in the university life. And I won't really, I feel as if I'm like a usual university student. And then when it comes to the summer placement or the year placement, I kind of switch into PwC mode, and it's nice having that split.
Great, thanks, Laura. Okay, Daff, I think I'm going to leave it there with questions just because I'm conscious of time. Is there anything you wanted to say just to close the session?
Just thank you for everyone for joining the session. Hopefully you found it informative. Please follow our social media accounts, have a look at our careers website, and I just wish everyone the best of luck, and hopefully you've come away from this morning's session learning something new.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for being here. From PwC. We've really appreciated this session today. And thank you, students, for your great participation. We have noted a few names to win the extra certificate. So just make sure that you're attending the session later today at 1 so that you can definitely win those certificates. But thank you again, PwC, so much for being here. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, bye.